Two heavyweights get together this afternoon to kick off February. Fresh off their Sweet 16 runs a season ago, Buffalo and Central Michigan battle in a rematch of last year's MAC championship game. Adam Jackson alongside Matt DeVries inside McGurk Arena. Well, Buffalo's atop the East, Central Michigan's in first in the West, each team having the projected seasons that everyone thought.
Well, they were both NCAA tournament teams a season ago, and you'd expect that for both of these groups. And you take a look at Buffalo coming in at 14-4, and the top mark in conference play at 6-1. Central Michigan not far behind at 5-2. This is a big game for both programs because Buffalo's going to want to see how they can do in a hostile environment. And you know, Central Michigan, with already 2 blemishes in conference play, Adam, they're going to be looking to right the ship. Yeah, the Bulls, they lost that opening game in the conference to Ohio. They've rattled off 6 straight since. Here are the Courtyard by Marriott starting lineups. Buffalo going with the same lineup they've had over the last few games, led by Sierra Dillard. As for Central Michigan, Presley Hudson just became the all-time leading scorer for Central Michigan women's basketball. Those 2 guards today, a couple of the best scorers in the country. We've got a treat this afternoon. I can't wait to get a look at Dillard in person because it's such a treat to be able to watch a player like that average over 25 points a game. Is she going to be able to put out that type of performance today here on the road against the Chips? Well, we're about to find out. Central Michigan and Buffalo, the 2 teams expected to meet at the end of the year, will meet today for the first of 2 regular season matchups. Last year, the 2 teams split, each winning at home, and then, of course, the Chippewas won in the MAC championship game. We're off this afternoon and the first Saturday in February. Here's the all-time leading scorer for the Chippewas, over 2,000 points. Presley Hudson, only the 2nd player in program history to have over 2,000 with Crystal Bradford. Another guard here, Michaela Kelly. Inside to Frost. 5 on the shot clock. Hudson along 2, knocks it down. Anna Hall was a little aggressive trying to close out on the shooter, Presley Hudson. Just a little bit of a pump fake and a slip from Hall gave Hudson the room she needed. Hudson averaging over 20 points per game, 3rd best in the conference. Onwuka, nice take, crawls off. Frost outlets to Hudson. Deep 3. And an offensive rebound for the freshman, Jahari Smith. We can tell Presley Hudson's feeling good. I mean, if she's launching this early in the game from that deep, and it wasn't off by much, just a little short. Gonna have to keep an eye on that if you're Buffalo. Make sure you're in the hip pocket of number 3. Presley Hudson, also the all-time 3-point leader at CMU and in the Mid-American Conference. She can launch and fill it up from anywhere. Raina Frost has been a lot of their offense, though, over the last few games. She's really picked up the scoring, 16 double-doubles this season. Under 10 again, knifing her way is Kelly. Missed everything, good defense by the Bulls. And here comes Hannah Hall. A new look Buffalo team. They lost 3 starters from last year, but don't tell them that. They've started 14-4 and 6-1. Left wing 3, last touched by Central Michigan after the miss from Onwuka. I mean, you're replacing Stephanie Reed, the all-time assist leader, Cassie Ausler, who was tremendous inside, and Catherine Upps, who provided a spark as well. And they still have got off to this terrific start, as again, it'll stay with Buffalo. But you look at both Coach Jack and Coach Guevara, they have built these programs up and starting to be at the top consistently now in the MAC. Yeah, well, it helps to have a sharp shooter like Dillard who can knock down threes and fill it up big time. But Summer Hemphill can provide a lot of things for this Buffalo team as well. Back up and in. Adeyeye has her first 2 points. Maddie Waters has it blocked, contact. And it's the 2nd foul already on Adebola Adeyeye. See, Waters was determined driving to the bucket, just a hard foul, and you can feel the intensity in here early. That wasn't just a lackadaisical defensive effort. That was a hard block attempt, and you can see that both teams battling early. Maddie Waters, the sophomore out of Rockford, 70% free throw shooter.
They want more scoring from her. You talk to the coaching staff, she's that third scorer that they're hoping can step in. You've got Frost and you've got Hudson, I should say fourth scorer, and you've got Michaela Kelly, but they love the passing ability from Waters, but want her to be more selfish offensively.
Yeah, she's just a really good ball handler, and she's always a pass-first type of player, and she really brings it at this end of the floor too, Adam. She's a pretty good defender for a young player, still learning the college game in her second year on campus, but she can provide that spark at both ends.
And that spark helping provide a turnover as the Chippewas bring it back up the other way. First giveaway by the Bulls. Michaela Kelly set for three. Got it. A 7-2 start at home. We'll see if Buffalo can get Dillard going or what they look to do on their next offensive possession. Onwuka instead tries. Smith to Hudson. Frost elbow jumper. And another offensive rebound for Smith.
Great start for the freshman for Central Michigan. You can tell she's engaged and hitting the offensive glass. That's exactly what they need from her.
Hudson. Off the rim, it falls through. Creative finish for Presley Hudson. And nearly another takeaway. We get a foul as Jahari Smith hits the deck. And that looks like it'll go on the freshman. 9-2 start though for CMU. 6:50 to play in this opening quarter in this much anticipated battle. There's the head coach for the Bulls, Felicia Leggett-Jack, 7th season with Buffalo. Got them to the Sweet 16 last year. Best season in program history. They went 29-6, 16-2 on their first ever MAC East crown. They have started slow offensively though, just 1 for 6 from the field.
And Central Michigan taking advantage, locking down, getting some extra possessions and extra looks with the offensive rebounds.
Right idea from Kelly. A little bit too hot of a pass for Smith. And that's the first turnover for CMU. There is Sue Guevara in her 12th season, all-time winningest coach for the Chippewas. She also leading Central Michigan to their best season in program history. Sweet 16 appearance. Still crazy to think about it, isn't it, Matt? 2 Mid-American Conference schools represented the Sweet 16 last season.
You and I, living up here in mid-Michigan as we get a foul here underneath and a couple free throws coming for the Bulls, but we sensed and we got the feeling in this part of the state how exciting it was for the Chippewas to make that sort of Cinderella run, but it was hard to not recognize that the exact same thing was happening in New York State with Buffalo, and the excitement around that program and the relationship that Felicia Leggett-Jack and Sue Guevara have, both supporting one another. It was almost like, let's see how far we can make this thing go. How great would it be if we could get 2 of us into the Final 8 or even the Final 4? It was an exciting time for this conference and for the women's basketball side of the MAC.
It's hard enough to get into the NCAA tournament from a mid-major school as Morrison knocks down both free throws to end the 7-0 Chippewa run. But these 2 teams were just the 2nd and 3rd programs in MAC history to get to the Sweet 16 and been done only once before. Nice passing to break the press to Smith.
Well, and usually you put all your eggs in the first round matchup, all the eggs in that basket. Hey, if we can get a win, get an upset, as a higher seed, that's what we want to do. And it was almost kind of unthinkable. Okay, let's win 2 games and let's get to the Sweet 16. And you've got Central Michigan playing the likes of an Oregon, who's a Final 4 contender, a Sweet 16 game. That's a level that both of these programs, Buffalo and CMU, have been wanting to get to for a long time. And you saw it evidenced this year when Louisville was coming to Mount Pleasant to play a road game against these Chippewas.
Yeah, Buffalo played Oregon as well. I mean, each team playing difficult non-conferences. Brittany Morrison picked up that last personal. And it looks like we're on track to have multiple teams get in, maybe as many as 3 with how well this conference has started, with Toledo and Ohio joining these 2.
Wow.
Nice maneuver from Kelly off glass.
That's so tough to defend. And It's well documented now with Michaela Kelly. She's a redshirt sophomore, but everyone's starting to know who Twin Kelly is, and she is so quick with the ball in her hand, and then a fadeaway jumper like that is almost impossible to defend.
Kelly now with 5 points. The Chippewas off to a terrific start. 11-2 run over the last few minutes. Morrison too strong, out the other side to Waters. This Chippewa team in this conference, 22 of their last 23 games in this building, wins. That pops out from Frost. It is so difficult to beat CMU in McGurk. Bulls have got to start to knock down some shots, though. They're just 1 for 8. Another miss. Good hustle, though, from Morrison, and we've got a jump ball. It'll keep it with Buffalo, as we're going to hit our first timeout. The top team in the East, the top team in the West will draw a standing ovation as we hit our first media timeout in McGurk. 4:41 to play. Central Michigan by 9.